Hello, welcome to episode 7 of my 100% Borderlands 2 playthrough. A little bit of a warning for this episode. I am recording the audio separate from the video, which is something I never do. I always record the audio with the video, so this is a voiceover. I hope that's not going to make things too awkward, but it might make the video a little bit worse than they normally are. This is not something I plan on doing very much, but as you saw, I just turned in our main mission and accepted Hyperius. Now, I don't know if we'll be able to get Hyperius done this episode, but I would like to give it a try. So last episode, we were just continuing through the Scarlet DLC story. We beat it. Now we just gotta polish off everything. Here's a quick look at our build. Still rocking melee for now. Also gonna accept this mission from the bounty board. That's gonna give us access to the loot room again. I know a lot of you guys in the comments were upset that I forgot the secret chest, and I do apologize. I actually didn't know there was a secret chest, but I'll be sure to grab that and the vault symbol this time around. In order to get back to the treasure of the sands, I gotta run through Magni's lighthouse yet again. It was far more difficult than I anticipated getting to the lighthouse. I died a couple of times and had to run back, which just made my day a lot worse than it had to be. Not a big problem though, since we've made it now. I'll go ahead and pop the compass into its place. I feel so weird doing this voiceover because I'm halfway trying to pretend I'm actively playing and halfway voiceovering it. I don't know. I really don't know what to do here. Like I said, my first time. I do apologize. After I put the compass in, I ended up save quitting, which was a terrible idea because I actually had to stay up there for the next mission objective, meaning I had to run all the way through the lighthouse again. I think I had to do it a total of 3 or 4 times doing this mission. I was not having a good day today. Also, a side note, I didn't get the Bioshock Easter egg to spawn any of the times I ran through. Eventually, I did manage to defeat Scarlet's crew, so I made my way to the Leviathan's lair, got swallowed, and beat the shit out of Roscoe yet again. After that, I made my way to the Anus and got spat out onto the boss arena. From there, I whittled down the Leviathan using the Greed and the Jolly Roger, which were really effective, even better than the Pimpernel, if I do say so myself. Took almost no time at all, and I got him defeated. Then I just headed into the loot room and started to look for the secret chest, which I actually ended up finding after not too long. Didn't get any decent loot out of the secret chest or any of the chests in this room for that matter. The vault symbol was on a wall near the exit, so I snagged that before I headed out. After lampooning the Leviathan, I decided it was time to change up our skin a little bit. I ended up going for the motocross monster look, black and green with a motocross helmet. I thought it looked pretty good. I ended up naming him Kyle. And then I went over to the Washburn Refinery to complete one mission which I hadn't picked up and try to kill Hyperius the Invincible. Turns out the mission comes from Censorbot. I must have just missed this last time I was here. It's called Fuck Censorship. We have to kill DJ Tanner. I ran through the Washburn Refinery and made my way to Hyperius, which I attempted to kill using melee only. I didn't really want to take this too seriously because I knew I could just come back and kill him whenever I wanted, but I did want to give it the old try using my melee build. It went probably exactly how you'd imagined. I did about 3 or 4 tries and I just got wiped each time. I'm sure you can do it if you try really, really hard, but I have neither the time nor the patience to pull this off right now, so I ended up getting defeated and having to walk away in shame. But that's okay, I'll be back later on to make sure he pays dearly for his transgressions. After failing miserably, I headed over to kill DJ Tanner, which forced me to go to Magni's lighthouse yet again. I wasn't very happy about this, but thankfully DJ Tanner wasn't too far away. He was just on a little private island, which I didn't even know existed up until now. I went up there and killed DJ Tanner purely by accident. I don't even necessarily know if I killed him or if he just died on his own, but he died nonetheless. Then I smashed his stupid little radio and made out like a bandit. I then returned to Censorbot to turn in the mission, where I got a very nice bandit launcher with one catch, that being the rocket speed, which is probably the worst I've ever seen, if not the worst, then damn close to it. The damage was so high though that I really couldn't stop myself from using it. After turning that into Censorbot, I was completely done with the Scarlet DLC, at least for now, so I moved on to doing the last 2 headhunters we had remaining, the Valentine's Day one and the Halloween one. I started with the Valentine's Day one. Love is in the air, as you can see. I made it to the church, talked to Moxie and Innuendo Bot, who was a very nice, funny guy. Also, I just found out that Moxie has a diamond encrusted into the back of her jacket. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that before. I had to collect the ingredients for a love potion, and the first ingredient on the list was to kidnap somebody's baby. Yes, that's the ingredient. The kidnapping part is important. It has to be borrowed. So I kidnapped a child. Then I talked to my main man, Ed. I love this guy, this big burly beast with this fucking, I don't even know what it is on his head. I mean, one of the gnarliest looking junk loaders you've ever seen. I talked him into opening the door, slaughtered the inhabitants, and made my way into the distillery where I got myself some nice aged whiskey. After doing that, I made my way deeper into the distillery in order to find some bling, but on my way I actually ran into some thresher bait, which I had completely forgotten I needed to collect because there's a little bit of an Easter egg, or not necessarily an Easter egg, but a secret chest you can get if you kill a bunch of different threshers using different bait you get in this DLC. Eventually I did make it to the pot of gold, which turned out to be a giant robot robot who ran away at the speed of sound. I've never seen a robot go that goddamn fast in all my days. But I ran his ass down, then ran his ass through, and took his golden core for our potion. Combined everything in the vat to make our love potion, which looks oddly like a strawberry milkshake. I returned the baby to Moxie, and then it was off to the wedding. It went about how you'd expect a wedding between two roided up gore goblins to go. They just kind of ripped their heads out to reveal their spinal cords and tiny skulls and went absolutely apeshit. I did want to let them level up to badass, but I killed a lot of the mobs before they could do that, and I didn't really want to wait for them because they were taking forever, quite frankly. So I just ended up stabbing them in the head. I started with Colin, who actually had me on the ropes, but thankfully he stopped and stood still for me while I downed him. And then I got his wife while she was attempting to aid him, which was a terrible idea. She really shouldn't have done that. With the couple defeated, I grabbed our legendary fish, got a really nice quad, which would be great on Salvador, but we're not on Salvador. I went back to Moxie and turned it in. That's the end of the main story, but we still have to kill the Threshers and do the side mission from Innuendo Bot. We have to go and collect different memorabilia for him, starting with a cigar. On my way there, I ran into the loot leprechaun, who I chased and stabbed mercilessly. I didn't get anything of note, but I mean, who can forget about the loot leprechaun, right? I gotta put him in the video. I ran into the green fish while I was doing the mission for Innuendo Bot, so I grabbed the cigar and the green fish all in one place. After getting the green, I decided I would just take on the Threshers before continuing the mission, so I started to kill them in order with the common one first. It was pretty uneventful. I just one-shot him with my melee. The green one, much of the same, one shot. The third one, Moby, was quite big indeed, but he as well went down in a single shot. Well, not shot, a single stab. Firecracken was a little bit stronger. I could not one-shot him, but it was still fairly quick. That left only one more, the legendary Thresher Rue, or maybe it's Rui, the Love Thresher, which I was unable to one-shot, but I did three-shot, also got a level up from him. I popped that point into Resurgence and then put our remaining Thresher spines on the rack in order to open our chest. And, I mean, I'm just gonna, I'll show you guys what we got out of the chest. You can see for yourself. Anyway, after killing the Threshers, I continued on with my mission for Innuendo Bot, which brought us to a very sad spot. So I had to get the blonde wig off of Ed's girlfriend, and, you know, unfortunately, if I were to remove her wig, she would go crazy and explode. But, you know, I just kind of had to do it. They said, well, why do you have to do it? It's just a side mission, they said. And I understood what they were saying, and they were right. And under any other circumstance, I might have even listened to them, but they don't understand the playthrough I'm doing. So, unfortunately, I ripped that wig right off Stella's stupid little head. She blew up, and then I proceeded to detonate Ed with a rocket launcher after he nearly ended my life. So, really, just a messy situation overall, but we took care of it and moved on. Only had one more thing to grab after that, and it was a can of oil, which I snagged no problem. Then I went back to Innuendo Bot, who was for some reason in a completely different part of the map after I save quit. You know, I was a little bit mad about that, but no, it's alright, doesn't matter. I talked to him, and he sent me on my merry way to continue his mission, which was to deliver our blonde wig to an already blonde woman who threw it on the ground and said, no, I don't want that, meaning I slaughtered Ed and his girlfriend for no good reason. Then I delivered his cigars to a shirtless man who dropped those on the ground for no good reason. I mean, who would drop a perfectly good stogie on the ground? That left only one option, and that was to give the can of grease to Moxie, who immediately asked me to terminate Innuendo Bot. I gladly did. He was a little bit tougher than I thought he would be, but, you know, he still went down like the rest. I turned that into Moxie, and that was everything for the Valentine's Day Headhunter completed. I moved on to Hollowed Hollow next. I got to see TK Baja again, which was a real treat. I've really missed that old fool. Unfortunately, he's got a bit of a skin condition these days, but he's still doing alright. So I want to make something clear right off the bat. I did not get the Easter egg done in this episode. I really tried to, but I ended up screwing something up. I think it might have been because I save quit in between doing some of the goals. Not quite sure, so I'm going to make sure I get the Easter egg done next episode, but just so you know, it's not going to be in this one. Made my way through the undead hordes to kill the pumpkin kingpin, but I was stopped by a ghostly lock. After that, I went around and killed a bunch of spirit skeletons to make a key. After I got the parts from the spirit skeletons, I started to head to the forge, but on my way there, I encountered something I didn't expect to find, a chubby spider ant. I forgot to put tubbies on my rare list, so I'll add those and mark off the chubby spider ant, which is, you know, it's just a tubby, but it's named something else in normal mode. Then I went over and slaughtered the forge master, took his hammer, and pounded our bones into a key. Then I went over to the windmills and found out there were an absolute fuck ton of scrap, which I had to get through in order to get the shit off the cogs. Killing those with melee was no easy task, I must admit. I mean, I could get to them if I wanted to, but there were just so many of them, and they were just shooting fireballs at me, which Made it a bit tedious. Nonetheless, I made it through, got all the windmills turning. Then I was able to spawn the mighty Pumpkin Kingpin. Now, I actually did have a bit of trouble fighting the Pumpkin Kingpin using melee. I died a few times. He just has a lot of really high damage AoE attacks, and that does not bode well when you gotta get up in his face, but I defeated the Pumpkin Kingpin with a well-placed final strike on his flying head. After I defeated the Pumpkin Kingpin, there are only two things left to do, the Easter egg and one mission for TK Baja, and as I already said, the Easter egg is going to be in the next episode, and the mission for TK Baja was very uneventful. I said to grab some brain candies, so I ran around the map and snagged those for him, turned that mission into TK Baja, and that is going to be everything for this episode. I want to apologize again for how weird this episode is. Like I said, I don't plan on doing this anymore in the future. If I hadn't lost the voice audio, I would definitely not be doing this, but unfortunately it was either this or scrap the 2.5 hours of footage, which I really didn't want to do. I hope you guys still enjoyed this episode. Thank you very much for watching. If you've made it this far, please consider liking and subscribing. That would mean a lot. I'll show everything on screen right now. Wasn't a very crazy episode, but we did get through some more of the DLCs. Doing missions is always good because that's basically all we have to do until we get to Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, where the real challenge is going to begin. Anyways, thank you again for watching, and I hope I'll see everybody on the next episode. Have a great day.